Hey y'all, so in this video today, I am going to be talking about reframing abundance and meaning not reframing the word abundance per se, but reframing life as you go through it. So that way you view life through a frame or a lens of abundance. And it at first takes a little bit of practice and then it becomes easier. Um, I found it really helpful when I sat for a free Kate Northrup class that she was teaching a couple of years ago when she started talking about the energetics of abundance. And I had never thought of abundance as an energetic before. I thought of it as like a word because so many people in the spiritual community were teaching about abundance and talking about living their best lives. And these best lives are definitely like wealthy lives. So then at that time interacting with abundance and being where I was in my self-healing shadow work journey, I just associated abundance with being wealthy. And wealth is like a byproduct of abundance. And money is here in our earth programs to interact with us according to whatever programs we're interacting with money in. So money is a byproduct of scarcity and money is a byproduct of abundance. And so I found that really helpful for me to understand that money is not abundance. Money is a byproduct of cultivating and curating a relationship with abundance and then recognizing the energetics of abundance at hand in your life. And so, I found it really useful when Northrop gave this exercise where she had us write in a notebook all the free resources we have in life, and the list almost filled I don't know, half a page or almost a whole page. I was so surprised at how much how much abundance was in my life, because it's like the internet is a form of abundance, right? Like you have a wealth of information at your fingertips. YouTube is a form of abundance. You can just find a podcaster you really enjoy on YouTube, and then through watching them, you find other podcasters, and then now you're plugged into this beautiful outlet of all this information that you resonate with, which is like a free resource, which is abundance. Um, Libraries can be a form of abundance, like having all those books at your fingertips. Our phones are a form of abundance, like being able to have smartphones is like such an upgrade from back in the day. That's abundance. Um, Having a garden is an energetic of abundance, because the garden not only is beautiful to witness grow, so then you have this art of witnessing things grow. Then there's also the flower essences and the tinctures and the produce that you also may obtain from your garden, and that's abundance. Being able to go for walks on free nature trails is abundance. Like free life experiences in nature, just filled with thriving life, that's abundance. um Having airline miles is a form of abundance. So yeah, credit cards can be seen as, I've seen some people pitch credit cards as a form of aligned spending, and I see what they're talking about when they talk about it, but I don't quite resonate with it in that way. But credit cards can be seen as a means to obtaining things that you would like to have in your more abundant timeline. And meanwhile, they have reward systems and stuff, which can be seen as a form of abundance. Like I recently came back from a trip where I went from Tampa to Kansas City to Columbia to Houston and back to Tampa. And I didn't spend more than $11 on all of my flight tickets, just because it was all airline miles. And yeah, I feel super wealthy and rich. I had a great trip, and I had pretty easy navigation of airports, and because my husband believes in the credit card, I benefited from it. I was able to check my bag, I was treated like a queen basically. And yeah, it was a form of abundance. $11 for all those flights, total abundance. And it's a form of abundance and me benefiting from his belief system and credit cards. um like Sunbathing is a form of abundance, because sunbathing, it increases your quality of sleep, it increases your vitamin D levels, it also helps you just have like a sunnier state of mind because the chemicals in your body shift. So it's like free therapy. Like that's abundance. Having access to sun is abundance. There's some parts of the country where they get more clouds than they do sun. So that's a form of abundance. And then just like learning to reframe things. Like this last like half year or so, like I recently purchased a new to me vehicle, and she did need work because she's older. And so I reframed it as like when I took her to the mechanic, like the couple of times I took her, I would take her and say that Queenie, that's my vehicle's name, was going in for a spa day at the mechanic. And then like I would joke with my husband about Bear, his truck, like sleeping on Queenie's side of the bed because she wasn't in the driveway anymore and Bear parks in the yard, and he was keeping her side of the bed warm. And so like having that humor and that play, making it feel like a much more abundant reality than what I had in the past, where it's like, oh man, my car is back in the shop again. Like I'm like, oh no, Queenie's at the spa, she's getting her fluids checked, like she's gonna come out like revving real good, you know, and like bringing in that play and pleasure and reframe into what could have been a scarcity situation, but I transformed it into an abundant situation. Or what's like another one that I've done like that? I can't think of one off of the top of my head. Maybe I took a note on my phone, see if I did or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. No, I didn't. But yeah, and then like having well, even having like friends can be like a form of abundance because some people in the world don't have friends, or having like a support system that you can really lean on is like a form of abundance. And then like when you're going through like big feelings, like reframing it instead of like, oh my god, I hate when I cry, and like I just feel so weak when I cry, which that's like scarcity and repression and like toxic masculinity, really, right? Instead, reframing it as like, oh man, like I'm getting to like emotionally cleanse and let things go, and I'm just gonna feel like I came out of the sauna and so much better after this passes, and then like giving yourself like a hug and loving yourself, like that can be like a way of bringing abundance into like a not most comfortable situation. And then when interacting with the energetics of abundance, I find it really useful to play. So like definitely like singing and dancing really help me feel abundant. I really enjoy when I receive something, if I'm in a space to like do so. I love to do a gratitude dance. So like I'm like, thank you, universe, so much for this $200. It feels so good to receive it. Thank you, yay. Or if it's like something with my inner child, I'm like, this ice cream is so delicious. I'm so happy that I get to like play with my inner child and eat ice cream. Thank you so much, universe. And like I do that, and it feels good. Like at first it felt kind of weird, and then now it's just become so natural. Like I love giving gratitude in a joyful and playful way, and it feels much better than how when I first started giving gratitude, how I had to like force myself into gratitude because I didn't really know how to practice gratitude, right? And so I would like write out my gratitudes. And now it's like I dance my gratitudes, I sing my gratitudes. I even like play sound bowls in gratitude to like the trees and like giving back to nature. Like that's a form of like interacting with the energetics of abundance because Mother Earth is all about abundance. Like she has so much wealth to like bring into your life if you let her and if you actually acknowledge it. And so when you do acknowledge it through some gratitude practice with nature, like that's like a way of interacting with abundance. I find that I work a lot with bird medicine, and I have like an owl and eagle feather on my neck, of feathers that like really resonate with me. And I find like in part, like it recently was brought to my awareness how like my gratitude practice that I've had going for several years, which is like leaving bird seed outside so that way I can give thanks to the universe for taking care of me and like hearing the songs of the birds, um, has been my practice. But then I was like, oh wow, like also like deepening that practice with the awareness of like, wow, like I work with bird medicine a lot, and then here I am giving gratitude to the birds, like before I even really consciously knew like that I was giving gratitude also for the vision of bird medicine, right? And then in a sense, I mean, kind of morbid, but it's like I'm feeding those little birds, and then the little birds are probably feeding like the eagles and the owls. So like the cycles of nature and life as well, but like recognizing that and honoring Mother Earth, it's still like a token of abundance. And not judging Mother Earth for her cycles or for her creatures, like her pets, her pets. I'm thinking of my cat right now. Her pets, like birds, her creatures, her animals, her wildlife, like not judging them for their cycles, right? And then like another way to like interact with abundance is like to make sure you practice like your turn on and your pleasure. Like we take so much for granted, especially when we're coming from a place of scarcity. So like I find it really, really enjoyable um to when I go grocery shopping. I love to pleasure research, as Mama Gina calls it, which is where you figure out what brings you pleasure and what doesn't bring you pleasure. And the beautiful thing about this is then you can find out if something brings you pleasure or not. So like for example, if you like bagels and cream cheese, like you can buy different types of cream cheeses and figure out which one is the most pleasurable to you. And as you do that, it's like you're cultivating your taste buds for what tastes like abundance to your mouth based off of like what you're putting in your body, which is another way of interacting with abundance. You're like, this makes me feel so like rich and creamy and joyful, and ooh, this one's so bitter. Does that make me feel abundant? Now I know not to like hit that one again, right? Like that's another way. I find that playing with the inner child, like I love skipping up and down the hallway in our house or in the walkway outside of our house with my inner child and just like waving my hands in the air and just playing and being like a child. Like that really helps the reframes of abundance kick in, which I recently heard when I was watching one of my favorite podcasters, Blue from the Deja Blue podcast. She was talking on a Gaia live stream, and she was saying something about how the neural pathways. It takes like almost 400 times of repetition to really like shift things like wholeheartedly. Whereas if you play and sing as you're shifting something, it only takes 10 to 11 times to shift it. So the more you bring play like into your like gratitude practices or just into life or seeing into life, it makes it easier to shift into abundance, reframe abundance, and maintain abundance, which I find really helpful. And then also with abundance, it's really important not to bypass or minimize. And so like I find that doing like EFT tapping is really, really helpful, especially like intuitive EFT tapping. I find that what has really helped me shift, and like we did this one tapping where we tapped based on off of all the chakras, my husband and I, when we were like house hunting. And within like 5 days of starting that tapping, because we were going to do it for 7, we ended up signing the lease for the house we were going to move into. Like it was pretty powerful. And like there'd already been work going on around like manifestation and abundance, but like the tapping's helpful because it creates like a subtle vibration in the body, which the vibration then moves emotions or stagnant energies. And then in moving it, you make way for that which you're tapping on to come in. And so for myself, I find what my body really enjoys in tapping is I'll tap and do like a round through all the meridians where I'll talk about what it is that I want to bring in, right? So, like the one my husband and I did was I am living an abundant life in Florida. It feels good to live an abundant life in Florida with my husband. I do not chase. I attract money and wealth into my bank account in Florida with my husband. I love my neighbors, or I love my abundant life in Florida. I have it written down somewhere. And then basically running through the chakras. So I am, I feel, I attract, which the third one I absolutely love. I've been using that affirmation nonstop for 6 months, and it's been amazing the things that it has brought in for me. Like amazing. some of the things like I'm like, how in the world? Like I didn't even imagine this, but that's the power of cultivation and abundance. Abundance is all about surrender as well, right? You have to surrender to truly feel surrender, but to truly feel abundance. But yeah, the affirmation, I do not chase, I attract, that was like a game changer for me with abundance, like really working with that one. And then like spring cleaning on surrender. My husband and I, we dedicated a whole month to spring cleaning on surrender, which those of y'all that don't know what spring cleaning is, it is a mental, emotional technique to help clear out and actualize and move out the emotional, mental, psychic clutter that we hold within us, like all the like unactualized, repressed stuff. And in so doing the spring clean, then it makes way for your desires to come in. So like my husband and I spring cleaned a lot on surrender, and it's how we received the like abundant freaking house we live in. It's how we received like wonderful friends. It's how we received like these dream work opportunities and like this ease of life and connection that like we've been envisioning for a while, but like it just really poured in on us. Like after like it poured in like at the end of like what are we in at the end of 2023, and then it really just continued to pour in and layer in and develop in all these beautiful ways like going into 2024. Like it's just been so wonderful, and like I still spring clean on surrender to this day, and I still swamp on surrender because swamping is like a somatic release exercise to help the body metabolize emotions, and it's just brought in so much bounty and beauty into our lives, and I'm just like so grateful for that. So like utilizing the tools of spring cleaning and swamping are a way to like cultivate more awareness around abundance, because it's hard to like have an awareness around abundance if you have like all this mental emotional fog, and then your body's all choked up on like all these like emotions stuck in the fascia. Like once you swamp stuff out and like spring clean, you have way more ability and clarity to recognize abundance in your life. Which if you're interested in spring cleaning, I do have on my Pussy Church playlist a bunch of videos for spring cleaning. I do not think I've made one on abundance or surrender. However, that is something, if you're interested, I could definitely do. But in the meanwhile, there's an abundance of spring cleaning videos available. And then yeah, just really like savoring stuff in life. Like, and then another way to like kind of cultivate and work with abundance is like working with like flower essences. Those of y'all that have been watching me for a while know that I love flower essences because they help you feel, and you have to feel to heal. And if you're feeling and healing, there's no way abundance is not going to be in your life. Especially if you're putting focused attention on calling in abundance, you're definitely going to have abundance in your life after a while. And so there's this one, I think it's called Natural Bliss flower essence. And I want to say I wish I had it with me. It's from a Hawaiian flower essence company. They have a really great banana flower essence as well. But if you look up Natural Bliss flower essence, I'm pretty sure you can find it. But like, I find that flower essence is so helpful and just like bringing on the gratitude tears and helping you be more present with joy, and like bringing out those tears that really just make you feel like abundant. And so like that's another way to like another tool that is cost effective, which if you look at that, like that's a cost effective tool to cultivate abundance, which that is abundance, right? Like cost effective tools. And that's another one you can look at when you're like looking at your relationship with abundance and like reframing things, is like realizing anytime you sign up for like a free master class or free 3-day like classes or like free anything, like that is abundance right there. Like you're receiving free information at your fingertips around topics that you're interested in. How abundant is that? Experiencing like exquisite like sale prices, that's abundance. Having people like recognize you as you own your beauty and step into your power, and like receiving compliments can be like abundance. Yeah, there's just so much around abundance. And it took me a long time to like get to this awareness. And like now I'm just like, I want to help people shift from scarcity to abundance because it's a process. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about the process. Um, and also when you're shifting from like scarcity to abundance, it's really important to like learn how to regulate yourself so that way as you're receiving more good things in life, like you continue to signal safety to your body because your body might not recognize that like all these abundant things are like good things for you. It might be like, oh my God, I've never been here before. This is terrifying. Because that's part of like the body's like survival mechanisms is to keep us out of danger. So like if it doesn't recognize something for us, like in its like little file cabinet, then like it might self-sabotage or self-protect to keep you safe, but then really like you're like, why is like all this money disappearing? Like, why am I spending it so fast? And it's because your body and your mind are creating scenarios in the external to make sure that you don't become too wealthy or too abundant because that might be dangerous and don't want to be in danger, want to survive, want to survive, you know? And so, like, teaching your body it's okay to expand past surviving and go into thriving and like regulating your body and then bringing play into it as well, like that's helpful. And the beauty is there's an abundance of free information and free resources from people out there that love giving out information to people like you that love receiving information. And so you can like YouTube or type in on Google and read free like psychology articles on how to like regulate your body and signal safety so that as you receive more abundance you can be calm as you're receiving it. Really helpful to journal and process as you're receiving and just observing what parts of you come up with resistance and just like lovingly like caring for them through like Ho'oponopono practices or through like just like meditative like journeying with that part and like working healing into that, which I do have a couple of like meditative journeying type meditations on my guided meditations playlist if you're interested in doing parts work and weaving and integrating your inner parts together as you evolve in your journey from scarcity to abundance. And what else? What else? You'll notice the more that you like cultivate abundance in your life too, that you become much more magnetic and like free things come to you. Which when you're cultivating abundance as well, it's important to like have your like receiving beacon on. And so, as I talked about in another video, like it's a really good idea to like create like a little gift corner or a gift cubby so that way when people do give you things you don't say no and like push it away. You're like, yes, thank you. And then if you don't need it or don't resonate with it, you could just put it in the gift cubby and give it to someone else, or say yes and then give it to like a charity or something. That's another like way to cultivate abundance in your life and reframe like your relationship around giving and receiving. And I find having a gift cubby in our life has been really enjoyable because it feels really good to receive gifts that like I don't necessarily need or enjoy now because I'm like, oh, I can give it to someone. This is so exciting. So like giving from the heart, my inner child's like, I get to give a gift. So that's been really interesting to witness as it develops within me. Um, I think that's everything that I got. It's really important just to make sure you're reframing things and like if you catch yourself looking at things in like your old pessimistic ways, like, oh man, there's another bill, and like instead reframing it as like, oh, this bill's unexpected. I don't quite know where that came from, but I'll just go ahead and pay it and like say thank you to the universe for the money that I have to pay it and saying thank you when you spend money, like saying thank you as it comes out of your account, that helps like cultivate abundance as well. Because then it's telling the universe like you're not like resentful about having to spend money, like you're open to spending it and you're thankful for the money that's there, which also shows that you're receptive to receiving more money. And yeah, it's a process, but if you're at this video, you're probably already in the middle of the process or in the thick of the process, and this is just serving to help cheer you on in your transitioning. And I totally know and believe that you will pull through stronger on the other side with much more life enriching moments greeting you and like very wealthy and healthy heart. Anywho, that's what I got. So I hope you have a great day or evening wherever you are, and just be well. Thank you. Aho.